Hi, Sandy. Good to hear from you. So I pulled out 3 of my spiritual decks. We'll see what comes through. I also pulled out some tarot. So let's see what's going on. What does Sandy need to know spiritually? What's happening in her world? What does she need to be aware of? Ooh, I love this. Okay, so Spirit's trying to align you with your higher purpose or your calling. So align yourself with love and wisdom. I strongly recommend that you spend some time alone every single day. 5 to 10 minutes minimum. If you can do more, that's always better. I used to have a really long commute back and forth to work when I worked at the salon. So it was like an hour and a half drive minimum for me to get to and from my job. And so in that time, I had a lot of time to just, vent to my steering wheel, sing my favorite songs in the car, sit in complete silence if I really wanted to. And it allowed me to have that downtime before and after work so I could leave work at the door. I didn't have to bring all that stuff with me to my home, and vice versa. If I had a stressful morning, if the night before sucked, I had that downtime to be able to detox my brain to be able to be in alignment. So I do feel like Spirit is really encouraging you to seek your calling, seek your higher purpose. Everybody's going to have something different. Literally everybody will have a different purpose, right? But what is that? Some of us don't find out until we're much older in life. I was like 40 before I figured out what mine is. So don't worry about where you are in life or time's running out. Spirit is going to give you subtle clues and nudges where you need to make adjustments. So just pay attention to those. So if something you really enjoy, like you're really passionate about it, it excites you, you're really feeling drawn to something, I would investigate those things. It may not be what pays your bills. I'll be real honest with you. Doing this definitely doesn't necessarily pay my bills, but it's my purpose. That's why I'm here. So while I'll probably never be a millionaire, I will probably never be, rich and famous or anything like that. That's never been the goal. The goal has always been to help people. And I'm a light worker. My life is to be of service to other people, to give them tools for their journey. That's my purpose. That's my existence, why I'm here. That's why I'm still here. So Spirit is trying to call you into alignment with where you're supposed to be. So please start just, doing a few minutes by yourself every day. Talk to Spirit. If you feel like you're more inclined to talk to God, Source, Spirit, the universe, maybe you're pagan, maybe you're Buddhist, maybe you're Jewish, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever feels like that is what you're comfortable connecting to, that's what you need to connect to. And I'm never going to tell somebody your beliefs are wrong. I'm never going to tell somebody that, because you may be connecting to exactly where you're supposed to be. Just because other people maybe don't agree with it, don't practice it, don't understand it, doesn't make it wrong for you. So that's important. But Spirit is trying to push you in a different direction. So you're on the fence about should I stay or should I go somewhere in life. So you're going to have to figure out what you want to do and which direction you want to go, because there's this indecision. Obviously, we know that. The indecision's been there for quite some time, but Spirit's trying to show you that you can bend instead of break. So you need to stand firm in the eye of the storm. I don't like this card right now because of all the storms that we've had, especially across the Midwest and the South, the tornadoes and hurricanes and, tons of flooding and things like that. So I'm really hoping that there's nothing to do with that going on in your world, because I don't like that. But this card specifically means that you're supposed to be flexible. So whether you decide to stay in a situation, leave a situation, go in a different direction, stay where you're currently at, you have some juggling energy that I'm picking up on. So I feel like it's really important that you make a decision on what's going to work best for you and then go towards. But we have collaboration. So some teamwork will make the dream work. You need to boost your relationship through teamwork and compromise. So can you guys get on the same page? Can you find a way to collaborate with your husband, with other people in your life? Because this next leg of your journey is all hands on deck. It's going to be teamwork. It's going to be necessary in order for us to keep growing. So while you're going to be aligning with your purpose, You're also kind of on the fence of going in a new direction, so you have to make up your mind. Whatever you choose is going to be okay, as long as you're okay with it. So just make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into. We are done with Mercury in retrograde. Let's see. On this Saturday the 12th, Venus goes direct, and then we have, I want to say it's like a good month or two where literally all of the planets are finally going direct. So we're finally going to feel like we can make some forward progress, where for literally months we've been feeling like we're hitting our head against a brick wall and we just can't move. So that's going to change. Ooh, Master Buddha, interesting. So again, they're trying to give you some sort of insight or awareness. It says, increased awareness, deep connection, trust your inner voice. In the first card, she's sitting, meditating. I really think that's something that you need to incorporate. Prayer, meditation, whatever title you give it, it's the same energy, right? You're sitting peacefully. You're trying to connect with, nature, earth, spirit, God, source, whatever you want to call it. And you're trying to center your energy to connect to the higher powers. So I feel like you're going to start to feel like your intuition or your spiritual gifts are amplified. And they're supposed to be on this next leg of the journey, right? Because we're headed into the 5D. Some of us are already sitting there. We're already in that vibration. And then others of us, we're like teetering, And so sometimes we fall back a little bit. We're in the 4D, 3D. And then we go forward a little bit. We kind of creep into the 5D and we kind of teeter-totter back and forth. So Spirit's trying to unlock these gifts for you, but you have to be in alignment for that to actually happen in faith. So I do feel like you really need to put your trust and faith in the divine, not necessarily in people, in divine. Humanity and benevolence. Stay calm, trust the good in yourself and others, and see the light in the world. If it is dark where you are, that means you're the light. Means you're the light. Sometimes we are the light for other people, and sometimes they're the light for us when we're in a dark place. So have faith. Have faith that God will never leave you in a place you shouldn't be. If you are stuck in a place, if you feel stuck, there's a lesson that you're trying to learn that you haven't mastered yet. And when you master that lesson, you will ascend. It's as simple as that. It took me a very long time to learn that the reason I felt stuck was I didn't understand the lesson I was meant to learn in that place. Once I learned the lesson, I was able to let go and transition to a different place. And Bridget, some inner strength. I do feel like you're going to start to follow your passions. I feel like there's something that just kind of excites you or lights a fire in you in some way, shape, or form, that you just feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have the power, right? And that's all part of the regeneration, standing firm in the eye of the storm. You hold the power. You hold the power to decide whether you forgive. You hold the power whether you're going to let something go, whether you're going to harbor resentments or negative feelings, or whether you're going to just be in this naturally peaceful state. You always have the power to choose. It's always a choice, good or bad. So we want to try and make some really good choices. And Radha, the soul flame, love it. This one says, rediscover a lost part of yourself. Exactly what I'm talking about. Experience relationship harmony and healing. So Radha is a part of a twin flame connection. And her card is really significant because it talks about transforming things. It talks about letting go of things that were maybe keeping you from the person you're supposed to be with. And this also comes out with the collaboration card, talking about needing teamwork and compromise. So if there's issues going on, first we have to check ourselves, right? Are we the problem? Sometimes we are the problem. I've been guilty of that plenty in my life. And then we need to take accountability, like for our own part in whatever is going on that's not working out, that's not healthy. And then what can we do to face those fears and to make changes? Because sometimes it really is like the inner work that's needed. It's the reflection. What is it we're putting out there? Are we spewing all the negativity out there? I've been guilty of that plenty in my life. So can we find ownership so that we can make changes, so we can actually go towards our purpose, our calling, our fulfilling what we're here to do? Because you always have a choice to go in that direction. But Radha is telling you that you need to discover something that's like a lost aspect of yourself. So some shadow work, things like that. Is there something that's holding you back in life from fulfilling where you really want to be, or your calling, your purpose? Is there something that really gives you a lot of passion and excitement that you would love to do, But what is stopping you from doing those things? Is it a hobby? Is it a friendship? Is it, what is it? It's something that is like, you need to do this because it's good for you. But at the same time, why aren't you doing this? Because it's good for you. You see what I'm saying? So like there's something there that we need to think about. All right, what kind of soul lessons does Sandy need to know about? Soul lessons, there we go. Okay, humor. All right, so remember that humor is like the medicine that we need, right? We need to laugh about things. Sometimes late at night, I sit there and I scroll on my phone, and I always inevitably, very late at night, come across videos that are just super funny, like literally laughing out loud, not like, oh yeah, that's funny, scroll on. It's like you can't contain the laughter. That's the type of energy that you want to incorporate as well. It's healing. I feel like it's medicine. I really do. Like laughter is something that it's a proven fact. You cannot frown while laughing. Try it. You'll feel like an idiot, but try it. You cannot. You can't be angry and laugh at the same time. You cannot be sad and laugh at the same time. So we need to incorporate that energy. So it says, I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. Find humor. Even in negative situations, find a reason to laugh it off later. Like, you know how they say hindsight's 20/20. You're in a situation where in the moment you might be pissed off, angry, something's not right. And then later you look back and go, oh, how silly. I should have just laughed about that. Incorporate the humor. It's something that's needed. In abundance, I am a limitless being and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. And yes, you can. Does it take practice? Of course, just like anything else. But you've got to believe it before you're going to see it. You've got to set your intention and have faith behind it and go, I know in my core, I am a being of the infinite universe and I can have literally anything that I desire. And put it out there with that intent that you believe it in here, not in here. You believe it in here that you can have it. And watch things start to fucking change for you. I promise you. So you are a limitless being and you can manifest whatever you desire into the physical reality. You can bring in the abundance that you want, but it takes practice. So practice often. Put those things out there and see what happens. In friendship. So there could be some sort of connection that is also kind of helping you to navigate through these changes that you're going through. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. You've probably heard the saying, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. If they're in your life for a reason, once that reason comes to pass, they tend to exit your life. You may never hear from that person ever again. If it's for a season, during that season, something's going to transform in your life. And once that season comes to a close, they somehow exit your life. If it's for a lifetime, you're there to learn a lot from that person and vice versa. You're meant to show each other kind of how to navigate through life, like a soul cluster or a group of souls that incarnate. They're part of your soul tribe, right? They belong with you on your journey. So they're going to help you through all of life's twists and turns. So there's some sort of friendship that's in your life for a reason. So just understand that sometimes it's got to exit and other times they're there for the long haul. One more of these. Indecision. You have it twice. Should I stay or should I go? There's something that we need to make a decision on. I use my intuition in all aspects of my life. So where do you really need to start trusting your instincts and intuition, and where are you not listening to that? Because that is where you need to start meditating and grounding. Okay, that was your first card if you look. Meditating and grounding, connecting and aligning with your purpose. Okay, Spirit's literally giving you a very clear message here. The indecision is coming because you aren't in alignment. And if you get in alignment, your intuition will show you very clearly where and what you need to work on or what you need to release. There won't be indecision because it will be a clear answer. Your gifts are being amplified, right? We have Master Buddha out here telling us that if we tap into that, and if you look at this card, there's a dot in the third eye there. Okay, so that's signaling, that's amplifying the energy, what you're bringing in, what you're putting out. But you need to tap into that, right? A lot of us are very intuitive people, but are you really using that intuition, or do you just consider yourself intuitive? Because there is a difference. I considered myself to be very intuitive most of my life, but I wasn't using it. Now I use it. When I'm in a bind, when I'm nervous about a decision, I have to quiet my mind and get rid of the fear and the worry, because that blocks our intuition. That's what the grounding and the meditation is for, what the prayer is for, to release the fear. Because when the fear is not in charge, our intuition will guide us where we need to be. So it starts to become very clear. Oh, I'm feeling fear. Let me release that. What does my intuition tell me I need to do? What direction do I need to go in? What do I need to let go of so that my intuition will guide me where I need to be? And then it becomes very crystal clear. It's not second guessing yourself. There isn't fear attached. There isn't any of this questioning. I don't know. Is that really what I'm supposed to do? Because your intuition is always going to come with some sort of confirmation. It is never going to leave you questioning, doubting, fearing, or feeling less than. That is an attack of the ego, okay? The ego is going to bring hesitation. The intuition will bring confirmation, and that's how you know the difference. So remember those old cartoons where you had an angel on one side and the devil on the other? So you have your intuition, the angel, and you have the devil or the hesitation. So which do you want to choose? Because you always have a choice. So if you're struggling with fear, if you're struggling with indecision, you are not connected to your intuition. Yes, we all have intuition. Again, are you using it, or is it just something that we say we're intuitive? Because we need to use those things at this point in the game. We need to. It's no longer oh yeah, I'm super intuitive. Are you listening to that voice? Or is that something that you've pushed off because you're letting fear overrun what it is you want to do? Because 2 cards are telling me you have indecision, but you also have a lot of things trying to come in that are really good for you, like abundance. You have friendship that's trying to come in. You have teamwork and compromise. You have humor. You have faith. You have passion. You have all of these things that if you're in alignment, you will start to see them unfold. So let's see if there's anything else that you need to know. Anything else spiritually that Sandy needs to know? Yes, see, you need to stride out into new territory, and you need to be a little bit more adventurous. Be a little bit of a rebel, okay? I think you told me that your husband's a fire sign, and that's fire sign energy, but there might be some sort of passion that's calling to you, whether it's a creative pursuit or something else. So listen to those things. Is there something that you're passionate about that you're not connected to at this current time that you want to? Okay, you also need to have some boundaries. So if you don't, you're going to be the world's doormat. You don't want to do that. You want to have boundaries. So you've got to stick up for what you want and defend those things. So it's going to take some endurance to get to the finish line. You will get there eventually. What else? The Chariot. Love that. So things are changing. That's what I was talking about. We're going towards ending these nasty retrogrades that have been here forever, it feels like. And so come Saturday, Venus goes direct. So if you've been having issues in a love relationship, Venus controls how we love. So wherever your Venus placement is, that house was being affected for like 4 months. Honestly, I think it's been like 4 months that Venus has been retrograde. It goes direct Saturday the 12th, okay? What's ironic is that's also Passover. So I don't know if you celebrate that or not, but it's kind of interesting that those two things correlate together, because if you recall the story in the Bible about Passover, all of the firstborns were taken in the night by an unseen force, and they were all killed in the middle of the night. So the people that drew around their door frame with, I think it was lamb's blood, their firstborns weren't touched, but all the ones that didn't protect themselves, right? Energy, we need to protect our energy. They were taken. And so it's symbolic of, are you protecting your own energy? Are you protecting your home, your family, things that are important to you? I go through periodically and I clear my whole house, energy clear it. I use bells, I use incense, I use Palo Santo, I use prayer, and I use my own intention to say, you're not welcome here if you're not good energy. Get the fuck out of my house. You don't belong here. I don't want you fucking here. Leave. and claim that space as your own. It's amazing how quick the energy will start to just feel good again once I've done that. And so I wait until everybody's out of the house so I know there's no interference, and I go room by room, under beds, closets, cupboards, literally every square inch that I can possibly do, and I energetically get rid of all of the shit that is accumulated. You know, people have arguments, people get sick, things like that. Maybe you just had an off day, maybe you're struggling financially. All of those things are energy, so clear that shit out of your house. But this card specifically tells us that we're going towards some forward progress where things have been stuck and stagnant or delayed. That delay is being removed, right? We're going forward. So retrograde shows things are going backwards. Now we're going forward. We're going direct, right? On a new path. And so Spirit is telling you, don't rush any decisions. That's really important. But that there is travel, movement, relocation, or even purchasing a new vehicle. But we are finally making some forward progress. Just don't rush yourself. And the Queen of Coins. So this tells us that we're focused on business. You might be a healer. You may be called in this next leg of your journey to be a healer. Whether that's spiritual, physical, emotional, whatever. You may be called to be a healer. Maybe you're being called to step into that path. Maybe you're not, but you're going to know that for sure. So ground your energy and make practical decisions, especially around business. But she's symbolic for building an empire. She's symbolic for being a mentor to others. So I do feel like you have some things, some knowledge, some wisdom to share. And expect some communication. If you've been waiting on some sort of results, those will be coming in, some communication coming in, or travel. Again, 2 cards telling you you might be traveling. You may also be leaving something behind. Relationships, jobs, whatever. Walk away seeking introspection and truth. If it's collateral damage, if there's no way to fix it, salvage it, or figure things out to make it be better, then it's time to throw in the towel. But ask yourself this, have you actually tried to save it? If not, this is a caution that you need to put in the work. And if you have, then this is telling you if you've exhausted all your options and it cannot be saved, it cannot be fixed, it's time to walk away. Because you're going towards abundance and happiness. You have the abundance card out here as well. So there's some sort of realizing your dreams that literally leads to wish fulfillment and abundance, independence, freedom, prosperity. But there's the indecision that's holding it back, right? It's the fear. The fear is what will cripple you. And I can tell you from personal experience, when I first started doing readings for people, the fear was the worst thing for me to overcome. I hated being on camera. I could talk to people face to face, one-on-one. It wasn't a big deal at all. But I was terrified to give somebody wrong information. So it held me back for years. I never wanted to give somebody false hope. I never ever wanted to be able to tell somebody that I felt like at my core it was untrue. So I really prided myself on being factual and accurate. And so it took me a long time to really want to do this in a professional stance. So I feel like there's some sort of fear that's holding you back. You've got to get to the bottom, the root of the fear. What is causing the fear? What is it? Because if you can squash the fear and find your courage and your confidence, you will head towards abundance. But Spirit needs you to take a step out of where you currently are and take a leap of faith in a different direction. There's new beginnings trying to come in. There's creativity. There's following your passions. There's growth coming in, right? You got a lot of aces. 1, 2, 3, all in a row. You have a lot of new beginnings. You have a new beginning in money or work, love potentially, new beginnings for creative pursuits and ventures. So you really have to decide because Spirit wants to give you some new opportunities, but you're worried. There's a lot of fear there. So we've got to let go of the fear because the fear is what's holding these things up. So if we can come to a conclusion of what's causing the fear, shifting your perspective and seeing things differently, and processing through the fear and releasing that, you're headed towards abundance. And I feel like it could be like everywhere in life, really. You have 3 of the 4 aces out here. So that tells me that, the fear really is what's blocking all this from coming in, right? Yeah. So we have the Queen and the King of Coins. Okay, so there's a pair. But I also feel like if you don't shift your perspective, you're not going to see this. So you're going towards a place of recovery, right? Where maybe you've been isolated for a while or things like that, but Spirit's trying to give you a wish fulfillment and union. They're trying to give you something that's beautiful. So equality, partnership, attraction, connection, the Two of Cups for me is soulmate energy. So I feel like, personally, if you really put in the work and the effort in your relationship, if you really put forth your best foot forward at work, you're going to start to have all these opportunities just kind of line up. They're just going to be like, here you go. You did the work here. You know, you have a wish fulfillment. You have the Star card. Looks like if you've been wishing on a shooting star, that was what I was trying to get out. You may have this wish just like fall in your lap, but you've got to do the work to get there. You have to be in alignment for these things to come in. Any manifestation that you put out there, if you're not in alignment, it's not coming in. And I can tell you from personal experience, there's plenty of stuff I've put out there in the ethers that I want to come in, but I wasn't in alignment with it yet, so it just didn't happen. I had to do a lot of work on myself over the last 5 or so years in order to be in a position to help other people, right? I had to face my deepest, darkest fears. All of my skeletons in the closet had to be exposed. I had to own my own shit. I had to walk my talk. I had to change and transform many, many times over with. And no, it sucked. It was awful. But on the other side of that, several years out, it was worth all of the nightmare pain that I had to go through to get there because I love the version I am. I love it. I actually look in the mirror and I'm like, I love her. She's awesome. I'm so grateful that I evolved into this person because without the transformation, I hated the person that I was. If I'm quite frank and honest, I hated the person that I was for a very, very, very long time, many, many years. I was a hateful, bitter, angry person. And I still have days that I am, but I'm working through those. And it's never going to be completely done because we're always a work in progress. We're always changing. We're always evolving. But we've got to do the work for the payoff. And so to get to 5D energy, we have to work on ourselves. We have to be authentic. And I feel like that's ultimately how we know we've reached 5D, is that we are our most authentic version of ourselves. We're not hiding. We're no longer pretending. We just are. We're just who we're supposed to be. We have that Christ consciousness element to us where we want to use our light to better the world. And I feel like if we're not at that point, we've got to get there because we don't want to be left behind on this journey. You don't want to stay in that low vibration because it's miserable. I can't be around certain people anymore because their vibration is so low and so negative that it instantly starts to enrage me to the point where it's like, I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. And so I really limit my contact with anybody who is in that negative space because it's detrimental to my vibration. It lowers it. And so I'm trying to stay at a point where I'm in a high vibe, where I'm happy, where things are positive, where my vibration is matching the things that I want to attract. And so when you're in alignment, doors will start to open. You have 3 aces out here and you have the wish fulfillment card. It's all up to you at this point. So get in alignment by meditation, prayer, ground your energy regularly. I would recommend daily, but if daily seems a little too hard right now, at minimum 3 times a week. You could walk barefoot, you could hug a tree, you could plant stuff in your garden, you could do a gazillion things. You could sit in a yoga pose and, light a candle and clear your energy, deep breaths, things like that. If you haven't checked out my spiritual gifting course, it shows you how to meditate, how to open your chakras. It shows you how to do the breath work. And it's all free. So check that out if you're interested. But Spirit is clearly giving you a map. They are literally connecting the dots for you. If you do XYZ, you will get ABC. It's a choice now. So you can either live in fear and low vibration, or you can, rock your socks off and you can hit the 5D and you can have literally everything that you desire. The choice is always yours. I hope it helps. Have a great rest of your day.